What's up guys, I'm Phoenix Master 1 and welcome to my Forma building guide for this month's Hall of Forms featuring Legendary Alm, Shadows of Valentia Palla, Spring Delthea, and Luthier. We do have skills up to the Legendary Yuri banner, including the attack speed Hexblade and Guidance 4, which is definitely going to be helpful for this batch. And the first unit that I'll be taking a look at is definitely going to be Legendary Alm, as he's going to be a very popular pickup for many people because he's really strong as a nuke after his weapon refine and remix. So Luna Arc does give him +3 speed, and he's able to get +5 attack and speed in the combat using it, and he also deals true damage based on 25% of foes defense, which is really good for doing even more damage to a lot of the bulky opponents. And with his weapon refine, he's able to get even more offenses and also get the null guard effect, which is super useful for triggering his lunar flash consistently. And finally, if he has got more speed than the foe speed +5, then he's able to get the wind sweep effect. So Legendary Alm is just going to be functioning as a really solid nuke with this weapon refine along with Lunar Flash 2, which does pierce through the damage reduction skills, and it is going to be working really great when we have a lot of damage reduction in the metagame. And it does go really well with the null guard present in his weapon, and because you can outsource null follow-up with infantry speed tactic or infantry null follow-up, you can actually run water sweep and not even care about the dragon units or the mages counter-attacking to Alm. So you can basically not get counter-attacked with his weapon and water sweep and function really well with this kind of weapon and just nuke a lot of the far safe tanks and omni tanks and a lot of the units which do have damage reduction skills. Of course, we do have specials and skills which are not pierceable by this kind of damage reduction piercing, and we do have true damage reduction with stuff like Brave Dimitri, Duo Asker, but still Legendary Alm does do a pretty fantastic job as a nuke, hitting them really hard, and you can definitely get some amazing premium skills for him in this Hall of Forms. Especially after his weapon refine and remix, a lot of people do have him as a plus and merge project, so this can definitely save you the orbs on trying to get the merges, and at the same time you can also get some amazing skills. So this is going to be the build which I'll recommend. So you can just pick any kind of rally skill of your choice, and he already has the best special for him. So you can just pick Ruptured Sky as an alternative option. And for Slaughter, I would definitely recommend having attack speed Hexblade because it's an amazing rare skill which gives you adaptive damage. And having adaptive damage on this kind of nuke is going to be helping you against the Omni tanks which have polarized bulk, like Brave Dimitri for example. So having the Hexblade status does mean that you'll have to run a mage, but getting the adaptive damage on this kind of nuke is going to be absolutely amazing and can definitely change some of the matchups. You can also try and get attack speed finish because he's going to be triggering Lunar Flash constantly, so it could help with the extra true damage. And attack speed unity can also work if you're going to be running him in like Ether Raid's defense or stacking it up with Legendary Male Robin. So that's also an option because Legendary Male Robin is also an Earth Legendary unit, and he can actually get his weapon refine and save 200 divine dues if you haven't really refined his weapon. But Whitecap Bow Plus is also an option just as a fun weapon if you've already refined his weapon and you want to get some, other weapon out of it. For his slot B skill, he doesn't really have too many options. Special Spiral 4 is not really needed when he has Lunar Flash, and Seal Speed 4 could be a good premium skill that he can pick up, even if you're most of the time going to be running him with Water Sweep or with Null Follow-Up. Still, it's good to pick up a premium skill, and this can definitely help him with the speed check present in his weapon refine. And Seal Speed 4 could also be a good option for a arena usage build because it is a 300 SP passive, so it could also help you in that game mode. Time Pulse 4 is going to be an amazing slot C skill for him because he can always have Lunar Flash at 1 cooldown with this skill, as it does have a mini special spiral effect built in, so it can be really helpful if you're trying to use him for multiple combats and you want him to trigger Lunar Flash on his double. But if you're going to be running him with something that can give him special charge, like with Infantry Pulse or Duo Asker, then you can also try and get attack speed Oath 4, as it is going to be a pretty nice option for increasing his offenses. But overall, I do like Time Pulse 4 on him, especially when he does depend on Lunar Flash to pierce through the damage reduction. So this is my recommended Legendary Alm build, and it's an amazing thing that he has got access to the Hexblade skill because a lot of times units in Hall of Forms miss out on like their perfect skill by like 1 or 2 months, but that is not going to be the case for him, which is going to be an amazing thing for a lot of Legendary Alm fans. Shadows of Valentia Palla is a sword flyer with Lady Blade as her preferred weapon. This is a 11 might sword, which is simple yet really functional. So it does give her Canto 2, which is amazing because this is not like a trace skill. This is fixed Canto 2, which is amazing for retreating and she does have -5 speed penalty as an effect for the dual phase brave weapon that she has got, and she also has adaptive damage built into this weapon. So this is a really solid weapon because you're able to get the dual phase brave effect, which is amazing for nuking in the player phase, and even in the enemy phase it can be helpful if you want to sweep by using Vantage on her. And adaptive damage does help overall in nuking, as I explained before in the Legendary Alm section. So having this adaptive damage built into her weapon is really good, and she can be used in multiple ways in summoner duels for like melee nuking, in Ether Raid's offense for Vantage sweeping, or just as a solid unit for other content like PvE content. So she's going to be a pretty solid unit, and I've used her quite a lot, and even at Unmerged she has given me some amazing results. Of course, we do have some really bulky opponents right now which might not go down to her adaptive damage and just the brave attacks, but still, all things considered, like, she is going to be a pretty nice sword flyer with this kind of weapon, and she's also pretty unique by having the brave effect and the adaptive damage at the same time, while also using Canto from her weapon. So it leaves her slot B to be open, and she can definitely run some other skills than just the Trace skill. She does have attack res rain built into her base kit, so you can definitely try and get some other skills for her. Like, slot B is completely open and slot A definitely needs some work, so you can try and give her Ruptured Sky as the special and run attack defense clash for a melee nuke build. Now, like I said before, you can run her in multiple ways, and this is one of the ways of using her. So you can get attack defense clash, as it can provide you with a lot of attack and also the debuff neutralization to your attack and defense. And for slot B, you can try and get seal resistance 4 because she does have the adaptive damage, so this can try and help you do a lot more damage, even if you're ultimately going to be running her with hit and run in her slot B like a lot of the Palla users. It is still a good skill to pick up. And finally, in slot C, she does have access to guidance 4 just in time, so this is an amazing skill to pick up because it's so good for the support, and especially incredibly good in summoner duels. If you have been playing that game mode, then you know how good this skill is. So this can be an option that you can pick up because she already comes with the rain skill, and this can be a pretty nice option just for the general support. But if you want to, just double down on the melee nuking aspect, then you can try and get Assault Troop, as it's a pretty rare skill, and it can give her the charged status, which is going to be helping with the Clash skill and also with Canto 2, and especially if you run hit and run in her slot B. So that's also a skill that you can pick up. But ultimately, I think that attack defense rain snap is going to be like the best skill in the future for getting the extra movement. But still, this is an option in the holoforms right now. And defense res smoke 3 can also work out for the Pathfinder, as she does have Canto built into her weapon. So she can go in and just retreat with the Canto built into her weapon and provide Pathfinder to her allies. So that's also an option, but overall I really like guidance 4 as an option, and a lot of people are probably going to be picking it up because it's a rare skill and it's super good. And if you're going to be using her as a distant counter Vantage unit, then you can definitely try and get Distant Ferocity or Distant Storm in her slot A. And unfortunately, she doesn't have access to Guard Bearing 4 in this holoforms, so that's a bit unfortunate because she would have loved to get that. But Guard 4 can be a decent enough option, as a replacement, which you could run in her slot B. Even though ultimately you're going to be running Vantage, you can still try and get a premium skill. And again, Guidance 4 is going to be an amazing option to pick up for any kind of flyer basically from this point onwards in holoforms. But if you just want to double down for a Vantage build and get defense res hold, then it's going to be an option so that you can consistently get the debuffs in the combat. So it really depends on how you use your Palla, if you use her as a Vantage unit more or as a melee nuke more. I used to use her as a Vantage unit more before in Ether Raid's offense, but ever since Altina got a weapon refine, I've just been using her instead, and I mostly use her as a melee nuke in something like Summoner Duels S. So it really depends on where you use her and how you use her, and that is going to be determining the skills that are going to be trying to get on her in this Hall of Forms. Spring Delthea is the first Gen 6 unit to appear in Hall of Forms, and she's a Blue Mage Cavalier in this version, and she's got her preferred weapon in Bright Shell Egg, which does give her -1 special cooldown, and it does have a 5 range menace built in. So at start of turn, it inflicts -6 speed and resistance debuff on the nearest foes within 5 spaces. And then the weapon provides more effects depending on the bonus active on Delthea or penalty active on the opponent. She can inflict -6 speed and resistance debuff on the foe in the combat, and depending on the total value of total buffs on her and the value of total debuffs on the opponent, she can get half null follow up if the value is 6 or above, and she can also get the fire sweep effect basically if the value is 18 or above. So she's able to get some really useful effects here, as Mage Cavaliers don't really have an easy way of getting the half null follow-up for bypassing a lot of the Fall of Negation effects, and the Fire Sweep effect can definitely be really helpful so that the opponents are not really able to counterattack to her unless they have Null Counter Disrupt or Mystic Boost 4. So she is going to be functioning as a solid unit, and she just needs to avoid the opponents that have debuff neutralization or some kind of faux buff neutralization in their weapon or in their skills, because that can definitely foil her plans with this kind of weapon. And this weapon is definitely self-sufficient with the menace built in. So Delthea already comes with a pretty premium base kit, and you can definitely use this Hall of Forms to give her even more premium skills, or just the alternative skills that she might use in some game modes or in some scenarios it may prove to be useful. So you can try and give her Ruptured Sky as the special as always, and Remote Sparrow could be an option for her slot A because it does provide you with a damage reduction, and it can be a good player phase skill that can be a pretty nice alternative to the cat skill that she already comes with. And she does have a good weapon already, but you can try and get something like Magical Lantern Plus, which is a pretty fun weapon. So that could be done if you just want to get an extra weapon for her. Mage Cavaliers don't have too many options, so Seal Speed 4 could be an option for her slot B, as she already comes with the Trace skill. So this can help you get the guard effect because she can already debuff the opponent's speed with her weapon. So this can help you in doubling and also getting the guard effect. You can also try and get lull speed resistance, but it's a lot easily available, especially through Divine Codes 4. And for her slot C, she can try and run Panic Smoke because the debuffs from her weapon can set up pretty nicely for the faux penalty doubler effect, and she can definitely make good use out of the skill. But if you're going to be using her in like Ether Raid's defense, then Colorless Feud might be helpful for just bypassing many of the colorless tanks and the supportive effects that they get, or for even bypassing a lot of the support units which are colorless. And Defense Res Smoke 3 is also an option for the Pathfinder shenanigans, but ultimately I do like Panic Smoke a bit more on her. Not a lot of options for Spring Delthea, she definitely comes with a decent kit, but still you can give her these premium skills. The final unit from this batch is going to be Luthier, who's present in the 3-star, 4-star pool, and he doesn't have the greatest weapon or the greatest base kit, so you can definitely try and deck him out with some premium skills if you're a big fan of him, and if you have plus and merged him, or if you're on your way to plus and merging him. Maybe in future we get a good Arcane Green Tome, so you can definitely try and just prepare him for that moment so that he can have a nicer weapon, and you can definitely try and get some skills for him in this Hall of Forms. So until we get a good Arcane Green Tome, you can definitely try and run him with Snow Globe Plus, which is definitely a really rare and premium weapon with attack resistance unity built in. So you can take care of the debuffs using that weapon and even stack it up with attack speed unity if you do get it for the slot A. And you can also run him with Amity Blooms Plus or Peppy Cane Plus, but those are a lot easily available than Snow Globe Plus, and that's why I recommend that weapon if you're going to be picking him up. And for the slot A skill, you can try and get attack speed finish 4 because it does have good synergy with Special Spiral 4 for giving you even more true damage and also giving you healing, so it is a really good premium skill. But like I said, if you want to stack up the unity skills, then attack speed unity is going to be an option, and Remote Sparrow is also going to be an option if you're looking for more of a player phase centric option. Special Spiral 4 is going to be the best option to pick up for a slot B, like it is for many of the mages, because this is the only option that they get to pierce through the damage reduction skills, and we definitely have quite a lot of them, so it can be a really good skill to get. And it can also help you whenever we get an Arcane Green Tome, because it could have -1 special cooldown like all of the other arcane weapons, so you can maybe try and loop like a 3 cooldown special with it, so that could also be an option. And finally, for the slot C, you do have 2 options in mainly attack speed Oath 4, which can help you get the visible buffs and also enable the teleportation, or you can run Time Pulse 4 and just stack up the looping with like a 3 cooldown special or even a 4 cooldown special when we get the Arcane Green Tome. Next month, we're going to be getting Genealogy Holoforms, and these are, in my opinion, all of the potential candidates. So we have a lot of red and blue options, and Legend Julia is pretty much confirmed because she's going to be returning next month, and there's going to be no remix banner. So the only way she can show up is through a Holoforms banner. So she's definitely going to be there. If you're a big Julia fan, then this is a good news for you. And then for the other slots, if I had to narrow it down, I would probably pick Cyan Larce, as she is in the Divine Codes. And many times we do see the Divine Codes units in these Hall of Forms. And Colorless does not really have too many options, so I think Tine could be a decent one. Skahak could also be an option, as he does appreciate the arcane weapon that we have seen on Rearmed Lift. And Rearmed Lift has been rerun like twice recently, so he could be an option. And then if I had to go for another guess, then I would pick Pirate Bridget and Arthur. We don't really have too many green options, so it's probably between Cyan Larce and Arthur. And if they do skip on the colorless, then they're probably going to be doubling down with a blue unit, I feel like. So the Horba could be an option because she's still, you know, due for a weapon refine, and it is not going to be until like end of 2024. So they could try and do that because we have seen units be in Hall of Forms before they refine, and it's basically like a refined gamble. So she could be one of those units. So that is my speculation of the FE4 Hall of Forms for the next month. Come back to this video next month to see if I was right or wrong. And I hope you all enjoyed this video. Make sure to share this with your friends if they're trying to build up any of these units from this Hall of Forms. And if you enjoyed the video, then make sure to leave a like and a comment. Helps tremendously. And if you really enjoyed, you could always support me directly by using super thanks down below or by becoming a YouTube member. And for more FE videos, make sure to subscribe and hit the notification bell because YouTube sub boxes make you wait, like the arcane green tome. So with that said, I'll see you guys next time. Thank you so much for watching and have a great day.